location like that, when you're in any of these locations, you have to really be aware of the fact that your brain is going to be working overtime.
Yeah.
Looking for these things because you want to have the experience. Like it was something I was aware of when I was in Oklahoma the whole time because the location I was in, I've been hearing stories about for probably a decade now since I got into Bigfoot. I've been listening to these stories about this place where we were, and you know, the entire time I was in there, I was like, you know, you have to remain somewhat objective, or every single noise you hear, every footfall, every call in the woods, you're going to be convinced is, you know, a Bigfoot or the Beast of Bray Road in the case of Elkhorn, Wisconsin. I'll just tell you, like, the road, Bray Road itself, I don't know if you've been there before, but it's nothing. It's not a creepy, I wouldn't say it's a creepy road. It gets a little spookier late in the evening, obviously, because it's a dark farming road. But I mean, yeah. It's a strange place for those sightings to have happened, considering the fact that, you know, the road is kind of on both sides of the road, especially at the beginning where it actually branches off from the highway. You can see the highway from both sides of the road for quite a while. For like a mile, you're driving with highway on running perpendicular to this road on both sides. It's not, you don't feel isolated or anything like that. You know, there's houses all along it. There's very little, there's a few little like patchy spots of woods, but it's not, you know, it's not like you're in a Hammer horror movie or anything. It's just a farm road.
Yeah.
So it's a strange place for all this stuff to have happened. But having said that, like some of the side roads that run off of it and Bowers Road, I definitely, you know, there's some spots there where you're like, yeah, this is kind of creepy. You know, there's some spooky sort of marshland that sits off of Bray Road that's kind of creepy. You can't go back inside of it. So that's the thing. And honestly, at a lot of the farms along Bray Road, you're kind of creeped out by the fact that, you know, people don't really want you there. They will run you off. They'll, you know, threaten to shoot you to get off their property and that kind of stuff. So it's creepy in that sense, but it's not exactly the type of place where you're convinced that at any minute you're going to see, you know, like a dog man run in front of your car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I haven't been there yet, but definitely if I'm ever up in that area, I'll have to check it out. It is a perfect time to do this documentary because of how, you know, the popularity of Dogman kind of rising over the last couple years even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a strange phenomenon too, because like it's been around forever, but it seems like it is a bigger subject right now. Mm-hmm. You know, that doesn't really play that much of a role in our decision to make a movie. You know, like even with the Mothman story, we never discussed the fact that was a huge popular subject, because when we started filming it, it really wasn't in the public eye. Obviously, the festival was doing great. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of interest in the museum, but the Mothman hadn't exploded yet. What happened is we made our movie, and then the Chicago sightings really ramped up, and then it turned out it was like the 15-year anniversary of the Mothman Prophecies movie. It was the 50th anniversary of the sightings kicking off. In fact, the day that we started filming the movie was the day that the Scarberries had their sighting. So, I mean, wow. There were a lot of weird synchronicities when we made that movie. But it was, at the end of the day, we really just wanted to tell that story. Like, we really liked that story, and we wanted to be able to tell it. And I think that extends to the Bray Road movie. I mean, I read her book. I read Linda's book, and it captured my attention, and I was very curious about the entire subject. And one thing I really liked about it was the idea that we could explore the entire phenomenon of werewolves and you know, werewolf sort of mythology around the world, and use Bray Road as sort of a device to do that, rather than, you know, I always say all of our films, obviously excluding On the Trail of, but all of our films sort of focus on these one-off isolated incidents, you know, or just regional monsters. And they don't really go in depth on any phenomenon. And I don't know that I would say that our Bray Road Beast movie goes really in depth on the phenomenon, but it does explore, you know, the larger mythology behind it and past sightings like the Beast of Jevadon story, and you know just the centuries worth of history that are behind that subject, and we get to explore all that stuff. So I was excited about that, and that those things played a large role in making the movie, and then also just the fact that I really love werewolves.
Yeah, that's one thing I've since I was a kid, I've always been interested in. I remember like driving down dark roads at night when I was a kid, just expecting to see a werewolf or something come out of the woods. And definitely I've always been into the Bigfoot stuff and everything, but in the past couple of years definitely gotten a lot more into it. And then once I found y'all's movies, like I've watched several of them, you know, multiple times. Boggy Creek Monster. I love the part where you guys caught some strange sounds in Boggy Creek Monster.
Yeah, that's the Boggy Creek Monster to me is like I have a weird relationship with that movie because there's so many things about it I hate. Just from like my own creative standpoint, like I wish I could go back and fix this and fix that. But yeah, we captured those sounds. I don't know what they were. I don't know what they are. We boosted it a little bit in the film so you could kind of hear them for yourself. But I didn't want to do a bunch of like audio tinkering, you know, to really amplify it or anything. I kind of just wanted people to make up their own mind as to what is being heard there, because we didn't know what we were hearing.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what we were hearing. You know, it kind of sounded like so it wasn't a coyote. Someone has told me it was an owl, but you know, like I don't know that I buy that it was an owl either. And if you're going to have any kind of Bigfoot experience there, if those creatures exist, then where we captured that audio would be the perfect place, because there's no one down there.
Yeah,
it was a very isolated location. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if that was something back in the woods. And I did just forget something. In fact, I'm just remembering this now, just because I'm saying this. Shortly, like right before we heard the wood knock, 2 weeks ago, I did hear very faintly in the distance what sounded like the Ohio howl.
Wow.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to say I've heard a howl quite like that in Alabama. It was actually like we were like in this little in between two ridges, and I think we heard a howl coming from one side and then one coming from the other side, and it was kind of hard to tell because it was, you know, we were in the little valley there. But yeah, real interesting stuff. So yeah, man, go ahead and plug it. Tell everyone where to find all your stuff. I linked your website in the description of this too for anyone. But
yeah, smalltownmonsters.com is where you can kind of find out about the crew and myself and all the projects we've got coming out. It's where there's an event page there too. So if you're wanting to see where we're going to be next, we don't have a ton of screenings scheduled this year. We're doing the ones at the Mothman Festival. I'm in Martinsburg, West Virginia in July, and I'll be talking about the Flatwoods Monster case at that event. It's the Eastern Panhandle Paracon, I think. The weekend after that, I'm going to be in Los Angeles for a huge life-altering trip. And then in August, I'll be at the International Bigfoot Conference in Kennewick, Washington. We're going to be screening a rough cut of, it might be the final cut. It's hard to say yet. some sort of cut of the Bray Road Beast, which will also be screening the weekend before that at Horror Hound in Indianapolis. They'll be screening our Bray Road movie as well. So there's a lot going on this year. We just don't do as many screenings as we used to. We're going to be at the Mothman Festival. I'll be at Cryptid Con in Kentucky, and I think we're going to do a Bray Road Beast screening there.
Ooh, and I'll be there.
Keep in mind, like if I'm talking about the Bray Road Beast screenings taking place in September, it means you're going to get to see the movie about a month before it comes out. It does come out until October 5th.
Yeah.
So if you're at these events, it's going to be like a special, like, early advance screening of the movie. So we'll be showing it there, and then let's see, in October I'm in Evans City for Living Dead Weekend, which I'm really excited about because I've become a huge George Romero fan lately. So I'll be there. I'll be at Chautauqua Lake Bigfoot Expo for the third year in a row, and we'll screen a bunch more movies on Friday night at that event. And let me think. It's not official yet, but I think I'm going to be at the Milwaukee Caricon, and I think we're going to make that sort of the Wisconsin premiere of the Bray Road Beast. So
nice.
There's stuff coming up over the next few months. Movies are available at shop.smalltownmonsters.com on DVD, or you can buy or rent them on Amazon and Vimeo on demand, and some of them are available on tons of platforms like iTunes and Vudu, Play, all that kind of stuff.
That's great, man. Yeah, I love getting the DVDs. I've got, I'm trying to get the whole collection because I've got them all on my shelf, and I've got some just any cryptid documentaries and stuff. Try to keep them all together, and
yeah,
I'll be at Cryptid Con, so I'll definitely have to check that out. That screening.
Cool, yeah, sure. It's a really fun event too, by the way. In the hotel that they hold it, it's fantastic. So
it'll be my first year. Or I wasn't there. I guess last year was the first year, wasn't it?
Yeah, last year was the first year, and this year's speaker lineup or whatever you want to call it, guest lineup is pretty great. So yes. I'm hoping they get. We had a really cool panel last year. It was actually the final panel of the con, so it was surprising it was as busy as it was. But it was the Small Town Monsters panel, and it was actually hosted by Lauren Coleman, and then Lyle, Stan Gordon, and myself kind of just talked about Small Town Monsters with Lauren, and took questions from the crowd, and it was pretty crazy.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you at those events, and we'll definitely chat there again too.
Yep.
But and maybe we can do a little interview or something for my YouTube channel as well, if you have time.
Yeah, I'm down, man.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'll see you in September.
Yep. Take care.
All right, man. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. That was Seth Breedlove of Small Town Monsters. I meant to tell him one more thing. I was going to tell him that his last name is awesome, and I was going to ask him how he got that last name. But thanks to everyone for coming and listening tonight. We will be doing it again next Wednesday at 7 Central, as always. And like I said, this weekend I'll be at the BC. I'm forgetting what the name is. ECBRO Bigfoot Conference in Virginia, and I should be live streaming some this weekend from there. I will be working my booth and everything as well, but it is going to be a good time for sure. And yeah, if you missed the live stream from today, go check that out. And I should have some videos coming real soon. I've been busy painting getting the house in order. We've been